Welcome to this edition of Oxford News This Week. On this edition, the crews on Seymour Lake Road behind the lens segment, those lazy days of summer. In our last story, her legacy will live on with the help from a community. That and more, this special edition of Oxford News This Week. It's underway now. A 12-year-old girl is being hailed as a hero after helping a flagger injured by a hit-and-run driver on Friday. Police say the incident happened just after noon last week. Drainer Road, west of 24 in the Oxford Township area, where a flagger was diverting traffic from a closed road area for paving. Craig Bryson, the public information officer of the Oakland County Road Commission, says it was not long before things would turn dark. Thankfully, to a 12-year-old Emma Ortiz, who was on the way home from her last day of school after being picked up by her mother, Holly Ortiz. They were filming the whole thing moments later. Again, Emma said she could not believe her eyes when she saw a driver of a vehicle, white van, in front of them hit and run over a flagger on the left side. But it was not, what Emma did, she was able to capture the van's license plate number, turned it into police while her mom rushed to help the flagger and protect him from other vehicles oncoming. A 32-year-old Detroit woman was then given multiple citations after the hit-and-run accident on West Drainer Road last Friday morning, and the photo and video are being kept as evidence given to the sheriff detectives who found the woman, cited her for her hit-and-run, failure to render aid after an accident, and also disobeying a traffic control device. As for Holly Ortiz, Emma's mother, she could not be more proud of Emma. Oakland County Sheriff's Office says anyone who saw the incident is also encouraged to contact them for more information. In June of 2021, the Oxford Community School Board of Education purchased a 32-acre property on West Drainer Road from the Dominican Sisters for $2.5 million. By June of 2024, the district hopes to have a main building remodeled and brought up to code for the school. Dr. Markovich points a plan for the main floor. Purple will be for the Bridges program, yellow for the OVA, according to Don Rush, who was there at the meeting. With that in mind, the team, along with the architectural firm Integrated Design Solutions, came up with a plan which presented to the board last month. The district plans will spend just under $5 million to renovate the main brick building, which actually sits on the big white building closest to Drainer Road. The building has a 57,000 square foot usable space, which was built back in 1997. It has 3 levels, a main level, lower level, and a second level. The district has identified 4 programs with priority that will occupy that building. That would be the Oxford Bridges program through the high school, Loft, also Oxford Virtual Academy, to house the district technical department as well. The old cathedral on the building main floor will then be left open for those programs that they can use for group activities. It will also act as a community center, which a large body of people can actually gather when it's all complete. In relation to the school board and their recent decisions, a recent coffee conversation took place this past week, and it involved, of course, Dr. Vicki Markovich, the interim superintendent of the Oxford Community Schools. You should look for that programming to come up on OCTV. Once again, also, that is through the Oxford Parks Department. Contact them for future coffee and connection programs. Again, we carry most of them on OCTV. This upcoming one will indeed involve Dr. Vicki Markovich on coffee and connection. Last weekend marked a beginning of summer with the Oxford's annual Seymour celebration that took place on Thursday through Sunday alongside the Midway Carnival and weekend activities. Cruising Down Seymour Classic Car Show was presented by Terraces of Lake Orion. That event was a fundraiser for the Oxford Community Garden and Senior Center. OCTV, Chuck Cameron was on site, and this is some of the things they caught at the Seymour celebration.
I'm sitting here with a guy who has a bit to do with Parks and Rec. Tell us who you are and tell us what your responsibilities are now.
Phil Castoni, Director of Oxford Township Parks and Recreation, and right now this weekend this is my responsibility, helping out making sure Seymour Celebration has a successful year out here at Seymour Lake Park.
Am I right in saying that this would be your first event like this?
This is my first event as a director. I've been here many years with the family enjoying it, but wearing a different hat, yes, for the first time this year, and enjoying it.
Any idea how many folks might come through this operation over the weekend?
It varies year to year. I mean, I know we will have thousands between Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and if the rain holds out Sunday, we're going to be open 1 to 8. This is the first time we'll have a Sunday carnival, so we will have thousands. Definitely Friday and Saturday are the busiest, but we put on a good show for the community and the surrounding areas. So.
So tell us who you are and tell us why you're at the carnival.
My name's Danielle Page, and I came with my son, my husband, to get snow cones.
I think I want to go get a snow cone.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Here we are at Seymour Lake Park, which doesn't normally look this much fun. I'm here with Dawn Medici, who has something to do with this wonderful car show. Dawn, tell us what's going on here today.
So Seymour Celebration kicks off tonight. To kick it off, we're doing a cruising down Seymour. And yes, so we have some classic cars, and we've got some community members out here checking the cars out. And then for all of you, what is the funds going to be used for the community garden to help with equipment or seeds or plants or new gardening gloves. It's all volunteers that work out at the garden. So we want to make it as easy and comfortable for them so that they enjoy coming out to the park to work in the garden.
Jeff Kines.
And Jeff Kines is the master meat flipper here.
Actually, I'm the park superintendent, but they put me on the meat counter today.
Well, they know you can trust you.
They do, every time.
So what's going on here today?
We're having a fundraiser for the community garden with the car show. Brings people in, get them in the park, opening day of Seymour Celebration. So it just brings more people in and they see what we do out here, and that's what we're all about.
More than 60 maintained vehicles participated in the Cruisin' Downtown Seymour event that was actually held on June 8th out at Seymour Lake Township Park. It was actually organized again by the Oxford Township Parks and Rec Department. The cruise raised $1,300 for the Oxford Community Garden. The vegetables and herbs that it produces are donated to the free meals program based at the Emmanuel Congregational Church, United Church of Christ, Meals on Wheels, and Hope Senior Apartments. Again, thank you to all the cruise sponsors, Terraces of Lake Orion, the seniors for helping. Seniors, we greatly appreciate your help for any part of your volunteerism. Again, we take a special segment in our Behind the Lens. Take a look at some of these vehicles. CJ's camera with some cruising tunes on this week's Behind the Lens segment. Thanks to the fine folks at the Northeast Oakland Historical Museum showcasing the Oxford Township Hall, which now contains an assortment of artifacts and photographs related to the Oxford architectural roots. The Oxford Fire Department, be sure again to stop by the Township Hall, which is located at 300 Dunlop Road, and check it out. The office is open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Again, they have some artifacts in their showcase there that actually came from the museum. Again, we want to thank the dedicated volunteers at the Oxford Historical Museum for creating and rotating the displays through the Township Hall. Again, that will be there through July. Again, you can head to the museum, which is on the Four Corners in downtown Oxford. Their hours at the museum are 1 to 4 on Thursdays and Saturdays. If you'd like more information about museum hours and programs, contact them at 248-628-8413. And now in another Behind the Lens segment, we take a trip back to the early part of Stony Lake. While not officially summer yet, Stony Lake Township Park is officially open. People from the area have enjoyed the cool waters of Stony Lake on the hot summer days for generations. But do you know the history of Stony Lake? Oxford residents and members of the North Oakland Historical Society, Drew Holt and Jack Leroy, lifetime Oxford residents, and also past police chief and fire chief, researched some of the old pictures of through the Oxford Leader Archives. The lake was definitely prior here to the gravel boom, I should say. Stony Lake is a spring-fed natural lake which has a depth of 100 feet at its deepest point. The springs themselves also feed the headwaters of the Flint River, which is also originates off of Ray Road, just east of M24. Here today on today's Behind the Lens, we borrow these pictures again from the museum, 3 pictures. The Lazy Days of Summer, we'll title that. Once again, we thank the Northeast Oakland Historical Society for their contributions in our Behind the Lens segment. Coming up at in our last story, her legacy will live on with a little help from the community. Dave Kenny's got a few segments. I'll have a brief look at sports. And again, we'll have our last story at the end of this newscast. You're watching OCTV, Oxford Community Television.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from Automotive News. In our first story, Buick is updating the Envision compact crossover for the 2024 model year, when it will become the first of the brand's vehicles to adopt General Motors Super Cruise hands-free driver assist technology in North America. The freshened Envision also will draw exterior design cues from the brand's Wildcat electric vehicle concept, which favors more sculptural lines, a wider stance, and roomier interior, along with Checkmate-style headlamps, a reworked grille, and Buick's updated Tri-Shield logo. The updated Envision is the third of 5 vehicles Buick will introduce through the next year. It follows the refreshed 2024 Encore GX subcompact crossover, which debuted in February, and the 2024 Envista, a small crossover, a new nameplate that will go on sale this summer and serve as Buick's last new gasoline-powered vehicle before transitioning to an all-electric lineup by 2030. Of the 2 other vehicles, a spokesman said one will be electric and the other will have an internal combustion engine, and both will debut and launch in 2024. Buick previously told Automotive News that its first EV will land in showrooms in 2024 under the Electra naming convention. Buick's U.S. sales are up more than 76% this year through May, the brand said on June 13th. The Envision is tracking toward a record sales year in 2023, it said. Buick leaders have said 2023 is a rebound year for the brand after it was hampered by microchip supply shortages last year. And on the recall front, Stellantis is recalling more than 331,000 2022 to 2023 Jeep Grand Cherokee and 2021 to 2023 Jeep Grand Cherokee L SUVs. They may have incorrectly installed rear coil springs that could detach from the vehicle while it's being driven, increasing the risk of a crash. The 2021 and 2022 Grand Cherokees have been the subjects of 8 previous recalls. The rear coil springs were produced by Daewon Kang Up Company of Opelika, Alabama, according to a NHTSA report. However, the issue with the vehicles is due to an assembly error, not a part defect. Stellantis is not aware of any accidents or injuries caused by the issue. There have been 2 customer assistant records, 17 warranty claims, and 2 field reports potentially related to the issue. At least one owner reported that a rear coil spring fell off while they were driving. Owners and dealers will be notified on July 28th. Dealers will inspect and provide any necessary repairs. And still on the recall front, Toyota Motor Company North America said it's recalling about 96,000 Corolla Cross crossovers in the U.S. because the front passenger airbag may not deploy, increasing the risk of injury in a crash. The recall covers non-hybrid models from 2022 to 2023. The automaker recommends no one sit in the front passenger seat until the vehicle is inspected and a repair is completed. The front passenger airbags in the affected vehicles may not deploy as designed because of a manufacturing error in the instrument panel, Toyota said in a statement. As a result, the vehicles may not meet federal safety standards. A Toyota spokesman declined to comment on whether there have been any injuries, accidents, or deaths related to the issue. Dealers will inspect the vehicles and, if necessary, replace the instrument panel at no cost. Vehicle owners will be notified by late July, Toyota said. Well, that's it for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.
Hey, this is former Detroit Lion Rob Rubick and former Lapeer, Michigan school teacher. You're currently watching OCTV, Oxford Community Television. Enjoy it.
Back with you on Oxford News this week. Time for a brief look at sports. Wildcats finished up their season. The girls soccer Division I District 6 semifinals. They played against Clarkson. That was back in May, the end of May. Wolves scored on first with Emerson Wood less than 5 minutes into the game. Sophomore Vivian Cruz tied the game with the first goal for the Wildcats with an assist from Ella Boyd at 22:33. Clarkson, though, responded quickly. Again, closed it out. Wood added 4th goals at 10 minutes into the second half. Less than 4 minutes later, Macy Moskovic put the Wolves up at 5-1 with their goal. Oxford's second goal was made by senior Alexandra Daywood, who at 23:09 shoved one into the net. 5-2 was the score there. Wildcats won their first round district playoffs with 4-3 over Lapeer. Oxford finished out the ladies soccer season at 12-5-3 as the OAA White League. Once again, they're still in a building position there with the soccer team. Also, and related to some sports, don't miss the exceptional opportunity to learn more and enjoy about outdoor lifestyle during the Orion Sporting Weekend that's coming up at Bald Mountain Shooting Range in Orion Township. Bald Mountain Shooting Range is located a few miles off of M24 on Kern Road on the Bald Mountain Recreational Area. This is going to take place in July 21st through the 23rd. It's open to the public. Admission is free. During sporting weekend, you'll find artists, craftsmen, and dozens of finest upscale exhibitors, vendors, and loads of exhibits on both for kids and adults. Everything will be focused on the distinctive country lifestyle featuring fly fishing demonstrations, dog training seminars, birds of prey exhibitions, bourbon and cigar tasting, and a variety of hands-on youth programs as well. Visitors are also encouraged to participate in this as an excellent opportunity to fill the desire and try to get your hand into maybe shooting or even fly fishing. This is a perfect time to place and introduce the entire family to lifetime pursuits. Expert instructors will be on hand to offer fly casting lessons. They'll offer novices opportunity to learn more under the watchful eye in the fun environment. Plus, you can also enter to win prizes. Experienced shotgunners can also enjoy the Orion Cup competition, Great Lakes Side-by-Side Classic. These two events are competitive shotgun shooting events. The event is co-hosted by the Michigan Shooting Centers of Orion and Outdoors Company. To learn more about these events, log on their website. Their website should be listed below, outdoorscompany.com. That's going to wrap it up in sports. Dave Kenny's got another segment. I'll do the last story. Oh, yes. She will be paid tribute with help from the community. Her legacy will live on. That'll be our last story. You're watching Oxford News This Week.
Canine Stray Rescue is Oxford's own local dog rescue. Call them at 248-628-0435 or go to their website dogsaver.org and click on the Canine Stray Rescue League link.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from New Scientist. Two white dwarfs rocketing through space are the fastest free-moving stars that we know about, and they could explain how some supernovae form. Type 1a supernovae are so reliably bright that astronomers use them as measuring sticks for assessing how far away distant stars and galaxies are. These supernovae tend to occur when a white dwarf siphons off matter from a neighboring star and starts to swell until it eventually becomes massive enough to explode. But simulations have shown that it's possible for these supernovae explosions to occur when two white dwarfs spiral toward each other and collide. White dwarfs are so small and dense that they can orbit each other at close range faster than any other star type, so that when one of a pair explodes, the other is launched through space at high speed. Evidence for supernovae formed this way has proven elusive, but Karim El-Badri at Harvard University and his colleagues have now used the Gaia Star Catalog to identify 4 apparent white dwarfs that are traveling fast enough to provide evidence. Data from Gaia helps do this because the Space Observatory precisely measures a star's position, distance from us, and motion known as astrometry. The 4 white dwarfs are moving at more than 1,000 kilometers per second. If you find a white dwarf going that fast, it's basically guaranteed that it came from some white dwarf binary where one exploded. There's just no other conceivable channel we can think of to make something go that fast, says El-Badri. One of these stars is traveling at 2,285 kilometers per second, and another at 1,694 kilometers per second, which are the highest velocities for free-moving stars ever recorded, although stars orbiting a black hole have been found to go faster. All 4 stars seem to be made almost entirely of carbon and oxygen, which is another predicted hallmark of stars shot from a supernova, as this process strips away helium and hydrogen from the stellar surface. El-Badri and his team estimate that supernovae generated in such collisions might make up about half of all Type 1As, but they need to locate more fast-moving white dwarfs to be certain, he says. Finding these supernovae remnants is no easy task, says Sarah Caswell at the University of Leicester in the UK. It's very hard to chase down what might have escaped from a Type 1a supernova, she says. The fact that Gaia provides us with so much astrometry has really made this happen. These stars are also moving fast enough to escape the Milky Way's gravitational pull. In a few thousand million years, they will probably leave our galaxy entirely, says El-Badri. Depending on how often supernovae kick out fast-moving stars, we might even be able to see one arriving in the Milky Way from another galaxy. It's basically the only reasonable prospect we have of observing stars from other galaxies, he says. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny.
Canine Stray Rescue does just that. Rescue stray dogs for new families. But they need your help. Become a volunteer at Canine Stray Rescue League of Michigan. Take dogs for walks, help them socialize with others, and help them get adopted. Fill out an application and help a family add a new member today.
Welcome back to the last story as we prepare to say goodbye for another edition of Oxford News this week. In our last story, her legacy will live on with the community as the community helps that legacy. Work on the Helen Smith Park begins. A huge thank you to the Oxford-based Saradin Construction for transporting a 21,000-pound boulder to the Oxford Township Hall for the new Helen Smith Park, a 2,400 square foot pocket park. The boulder will appear a bronze plaque containing her image, Helen Smith, from 1934 to her loss of 2015, and a summary of her many contributions to the community. This plaque, which was paid for by Barron Industries, will share Helen's story with the visitors to help ensure her legacy is never forgotten. Helen made it a personal mission to see and to talk to all the Oxford's youth, and always received the financial and moral support they needed and then deserved. She also committed to helping students succeed in the classroom, on the field, and in the world after graduation. She did this as a charter member of the Oxford Wildcat Booster Club, and though her work with the American Legion Auxiliary 108 and American Legion Post 108, another thank you to Koning Materials, located on Lakeville Road, for donating the massive boulder, and that was even an Oxford boulder. Having this connection to the local gravel mining industry is very appropriate because it was convenient access to the aggregates and led Helen's father, Warren Horton Smith, to move to the family business to the Smith Silo Company in Oxford back in 1930. Helen Smith's Park was made possible by a grant from the Almont-based Four-County Community Foundation. Donations also were from McLaren Oakland, the Clark Fund, Ed Lee, Koning Materials, Barron Industries, Oxford Bank, Frontier Distributing, Dan Davis, RLM Industries, HealthQuest Physical Therapy, American Legion Walter Post Fraser 108, American Legion Auxiliary Unit 108, American Veterans and AMVETS Post 108, and American Oakland VFW 334. Rattlewood Farms, we want to make sure we get everybody in here. 4B Foundation, Casimir Tool and Machine, 24th Street Sports Tavern, Puritan Majestics, Bradford Jacobson himself, Collier Lanes, Oxford Hills Golf Club. You see all the people that she impacted. Acorn Stamping, Oxford Education Association, the Oxford Wildcat Band and Boosters, Dr. Mark Orchard, Birmingham Seal Colt Incorporated, Sinclair Recreation, Oxford Township Parks, and Recreation. Again, just some of the people that made this park that will be possible for the community to take part and enjoy. Once again, paying tribute to the late Helen Smith. And with that, we like to say thank you to the gathering sources, our news gathering sources of the Charter Township Oxford Facebook page, Oxford Village, the Oxford Oakland Press, also the Oxford Athletic site. Again, we want to thank the photo credits of C.J. Carnacchio and the Oxford Leader. OCTV can be viewed on Spectrum Charter Channel 191, Channel 99 on the ATT Uverse, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook. You can even download Roku if you have a smart TV. Watch OCTV programming. OCTV is available to local groups for producing public service announcements. If you have a show idea and want to volunteer, give their office a call at 248-628-9658. Thanks to the producer, director today, the man behind it all. He does a lot, Kyle Snage. Videographer, Al Campbell. Our editor in charge of it all, Marissa Rushka. And program coordinator, Dan Zweiss. Program director, Connie Miller. Station manager, Terry Stiles. For everyone here at OCTV, I'm Jim Hughes, hoping you have a safe week. I invite you back next time. And again, we will take a look at Oxford News this week.